How are you?
Um, let's see. The easy answer, the complicated answer, or I don't know, everything in between.
Yeah, I guess the last option.
Let's see. I'm doing okay. Last week was not great. The week before that was all right. Today's Monday, right?
Tuesday.
Oh my God, it's Tuesday. It's one of those days then. That's how I am. I don't know the day. So yeah. Uh so that's where I'm at right
Okay.
now. Yeah, how about yourself?
Good. I'm glad that we finally got to do this.
Yeah, same. Yeah, sorry. All these things keep coming up and all that stuff, but I'm glad that we were able to do it as well.
From the beginning, and then
Yes.
ask. Guess what your first credit was a movie called The Orb.
Yeah, the orb. So I'm from Hawaii, and I've been in a few other things too. Um, you may have seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall on
Yeah.
my IMDb. Was that my first credit? Or I guess the orb was technically. But I did a bunch of things like at the same time. I'm also in Lost, but for whatever reason, IMDb does not want to add that credit, so that's really weird. It got lost. I don't know. But yeah, so The Orb is a horror movie, and I got the part in that because I had the best blood curdling scream. And yeah, so it's fun. I don't think you can find it anywhere online. I have a copy. I have like one of the few, like a couple hundred copies in the world. And it's a fun, stupid horror movie. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that for now.
So then was Forgetting Sarah Marshall how you got into SAG?
Honestly, I don't know how I technically got into SAG because I've been SAG eligible for like forever, and I only recently got my SAG card 2 years ago because like you can only do so many SAG projects like under Taft-Hartley and stuff before something like that happens. Honestly, I'm not the right person to talk about this, but yeah. So I have done a number of SAG projects, and at some point I was just like, oh, I might as well get my SAG card so that I can continue doing SAG projects and not have that be a blockade for me, not officially being SAG.
So then, what was the first professional voiceover job that you had then?
I first moved to LA back in 2014, and long story short, I decided to join a website where you can do voiceovers and stuff. And I auditioned for a project. It was supposed to only pay $100, but I booked it. And then about 3 months later, I got an email from them saying that commercial was going to go union, and so they were going to pay me like $2,000 on top of the $100 that I got paid or whatever. And so that was like, wow, cool, my first VO gig, and it's like a legit gig. It was only supposed to be 100, but now it's like, yeah, throw money. So that was like my first paid VO, like official VO gig. For the studio, I don't know. It may have been like some Walla at Bang Zoom, maybe.
Mhm.
I don't remember. Yeah. So it could have been a commercial because I used to do a lot of commercials like when I first moved here, and then I kind of got tired of auditioning for commercials and only really wanted to audition for like the fun stuff. Although I still audition for commercials now, but I used to audition for every commercial, and now it's just like 10% of the time. So yeah.
So then, yeah, I guess with anime, what was your first character part?
Yeah, I can't say exactly what the first character one was, but a semi-recent one that I recorded during the pandemic was actually a few. I recorded for Jojo's. Did you see the episode with Babyface?
Oh yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, so I'm the girl that gets brutally, you know,
Anita.
Yeah, so I get harassed. We'll just leave it at that. And yeah, and that was fun. That was one of my first named characters, because like I did a bunch of just like rando Walla characters before that. I may have had another named character, but I honestly don't remember. But yeah, like most of the named character stuff has happened during the pandemic. Yeah, there was that, and then the ReZero one, I play Sekhmet, the Witch of Sloth, and I'm in another show called Tony Kawa, Over the Moon. I think that's what it's called, and I'm someone's mom. So that's kind of a named character, but yeah, I think those are the ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Sekhmet, that's a pretty fun role.
Yeah, it was very fun. I hope that I get to play as her more, because it's weird, because I was watching the series and they just introduced the witches, and then I was like, okay, cool. Are we gonna see more of them in the second part? And crickets. But I was kind of looking at the light novel stuff for ReZero, and apparently at some point the witches come back. I don't know when, but yeah, it'll be cool to reprise the role.
Mm-hmm. And was it difficult for you to get used to dubbing?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't want to like I don't know, earn the wrath of my peers, but dubbing to me is very easy and fun, because I don't know, it just comes naturally, because I've been doing music and other things with timing ever since I was 6, probably younger. And so it's just like beep, 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 da 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 da. And like, although when I first started, because everyone was saying, oh God, it's like the scariest thing and blah blah blah, like I built this up in my head that like, oh my God, well I've got to get the lip flaps right, like it's got to be perfect. And so I freaked out. I mean, not really, I mean, internally freaking out. So when I first did it in like a workshop, it was like I was so focused on trying to match the lip flaps perfectly that I wasn't focused on the acting, which is not a thing you want to do. And then after doing it a couple of times, I was like, oh, I don't even have to look at the lip flaps, really. Like, you just have to look at it with your peripheral vision, and then you just act. And then honestly, the engineers are so good, like they just move it to the left like a split second, and they're like, okay, perfect, cool, next line. And that's really it. Like, I think the difficult thing is when people focus too much on matching the lip flap, and then the acting suffers. And like, I just did another project. Yeah, honestly, a lot of the more interesting things I've done, I can't talk about. Because yeah, so I'm like in like 5 other games that have not come out. I'm in a movie that hasn't come out, and like, I don't know, maybe a series, I don't remember. Oh, well, a Netflix thing. But I can't talk about any of it, but I will talk about it secretly. So I was recording like this dub a few weeks ago, and I literally was not looking at the mouth flaps at all. I was just like, I'm looking at the words. I'm just doing this. I'm getting into the headspace of this character, and I'm just going with the flow. And for the most part, it just happens to line up with the lip flaps. Yeah. Hopefully I answered your question. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, has there been a case with voiceover so far where you've had to get to a really emotionally involved headspace?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if you've played or heard Ace Combat 7. My character, Scream, but that was one of the most fun roles that I've had, because I really love getting into that headspace of just emotional breakdown. Just because I always feel like I'm on the verge of emotional breakdown, but I have to hold it in like a regular human being, you know? And so it's those few moments for those characters that I can actually let it out and not be a crazy person. And so, yeah, so that was one of the times that I got to do that. For the thing that I recorded a few weeks ago, I did have like an emotional thing, but the thing with that though was it was live action, and I feel like I have to really hold back for live action, unlike with anime, animation, and video games and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I gotta have to hold back. And first of all, I don't even think that this person that I'm voicing looks anything like me, or would sound like me. Well, she doesn't, because I've heard her voice. But anyway, and so I feel like awkward with that. Like live action dubbing is definitely like a weird beast compared to animation. But yeah, so I was like, the director was like, okay, cool, go big, go emotional. I'm like, all right, I'll try, but I don't want to go too big. And so I was holding back for that, and it was like this. There's a fine line you have to cross. But yeah, so there's a bit of that too. But it was fun. So I always appreciate that kind of thing. Like anytime you get to really go big and let out your emotions, it's really good.
And so is there a special story of how you first got involved with playing Plumeria and Fire Emblem?
Well, kind of. Yeah, okay. So I did that at Cup of Tea Productions. I was called in to audition for 2 different characters. I honestly don't remember what the other one was, but I remember thinking that the other character that I auditioned for was more my type, because it was like a warrior-ish type character, and those are the ones that I tended to book more of. But I loved that the other one was named Plumeria, because Plumeria is like, I couldn't find my Plumeria. I have a Plumeria flower pin that I got from Hawaii, and I was going to wear it, but I couldn't find it. But anyway, so Plumeria is a very popular flower in Hawaii. It's not the state flower, but it should be, because they're everywhere, and they're one of my favorite flowers. And so I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, this character's named Plumeria, and it's like me from Hawaii, except like looking at, like reading the specs, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be what they want. But thankfully, like honestly, if I were to do that audition at home without direction, I don't think I would have booked it, because I had something completely, well, how should I say? I did not feel confident in my audition. But like I did it, and there's like the engineer there who was kind of like directing me into the read. But like I did my read, and I was like, oh god, like I don't know what I said afterwards, but I felt like, oh my god, that was terrible. I'm never gonna book this. But the engineer was like, that was great. Just do another one and maybe change it up a bit. I'm like, are you serious? Okay. And so I did that, and then I booked it. And so it's just really weird that, like, I guess that was an incident of how me trusting my instincts is not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the other character, I obviously didn't book, but I felt like I gave a strong audition for it. So, yeah. So I guess that's the story that of how I got into that. I would like her to have more variety, because that would mean hopefully that I would go into the studio some more and record more alt lines for her. So yeah. Oh, okay. So here's kind of a story, I guess, with Plumeria, is that I found out somewhere down the line that there was like this big Plumeria meme, and yeah, I mean, obviously she's the fairy of lewd dreams, right? And that's kind of fun and exciting. With that territory, though, also comes a lot of, how should I say, hentai. I don't know. Yeah, so like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. interesting. There's naked versions of okay. But you know, it's not surprising.
Right.
But yeah, but that was kind of fun. It's you know, one of those things I got to check off my bucket list. So yeah, quite pleased about that, actually. Yeah.
And did you find it easy to relate to her character?
Yeah, actually, I mean, so when you just look at her on the surface, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a lewd fairy and you know, she's just trying to be sexy. But when you look into her story and her past, it's pretty tragic. And it's like, oh, great, that's like me. But yeah, like for that kind of thing, it's definitely more relatable, and she's a deeper character than other people give her credit for. And so yeah, I can definitely relate on some of those levels.
Well, and then everybody that I've talked to too that's been part of Pokemon Masters that said that they just were given their parts. Was that your experience too, or did you have to audition?
Oh, well, I'm not big and famous enough to just be handed parts on a platter like that. Okay, I guess I've gotten parts in the past, but with that, I did have to audition for Allister. And they were looking for a little British boy. Well, not an actual little British boy, but I guess someone who could do a British boy voice. And I've booked several British things. So I guess I have a passable British accent. So yeah, so I got that from auditioning. Thank you very much. None of this handed on a silver platter, but hopefully that happens more in the future.
Were you this is probably obvious too, but were you a fan or like player of the Pokemon stuff before that?
I played Pokemon Go, but I didn't play Pokemon Masters. I also like the fact that Allister deals with ghost type Pokemon,
Yeah.
and my last name sounds like Ghost. I don't know. It's been kind of my nickname since I was in middle school or elementary. I don't know. So it's like, oh, cool. Anytime there's something like that, then it's cool and relatable. So yeah.
And do you have a particular process for boy voices too?
It's easier for me to go into a boy voice than a girl voice.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I guess because my normal speaking voice tends to be a little more boyish or something. Like I guess I have kind of more of a like how do you say? Not necessarily a vocal fry, but sometimes. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of with my voice. Yeah. So it's easier for me to go into like this, like a rough and tumble kind of tomboy type voice than to go into like a little girl voice. Although I also do little girl voice or little girl characters too. I did a couple today, but like it's weird because like sometimes it'll sound fine, it'll sound natural, and then other times it sounds like nails on a chalkboard. To me anyway, where I'm like, oh god, ooh, that didn't sound like an actual kid. That just sounded like someone's trying to, I don't know, do a weird squeaky voice. So it's hit or miss sometimes.
So was Genshin Impact a case where you auditioned for a playable character too?
No. I wish. Man, Genshin Impact is insta fame. Like you seriously, you go from like 100 followers and then overnight you have like 12,000. But yeah, I never got an audition for it. Kind of an autocast one for like very, very minor characters that were just like in like an event. So I can say that I'm part of it, although I'm not like, you know, one of the cool kids. It would be nice to be one of the cool kids, but I'm definitely an outlier in the VO world. it's hard to get a following if you don't already have a following. But once you do, it begets more of a following. It's just like money, right? Like if you're poor, it's really hard to make money, but once you have a certain amount of money, it's super easy to make money, like super.
Right.
But yeah, so what made you want to get into doing this kind of thing?
It started like, I think, like around this time 2 years ago, I virtually met one of my favorite voice actors, Eric Vale, via GalaxyCon. And then I just got the idea to start trying to reach out to voice actors that I was personally a fan of, that I really hadn't seen them talk about roles that I liked for them the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so later that fall of 2020, I started with Wendy Lee was my first LA-based voice actor that I interviewed, and then it just kind of spiraled on from there. And now I've done like live action and music industry people as well, but most of my focus is still with voice actors, and I'm coming up on 200 interviews soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, yeah. I keep seeing like all these videos that you're putting out. I'm like, oh, I know these people. Oh, cool. Yeah. So that's cool. Definitely keep that up.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's really good that you have the momentum to like keep doing things, because that's like what I hear is how you got to do it. But for me, like that momentum is so hard to keep up. Oh, my thing's falling off. But yeah, so kudos to you for being persistent and just
Thanks.
So that's really good. So I lose the persistence.
Well, it does help too that the Fire Emblem Heroes community, especially, like ever since I've been doing interviews that are correlated to the community for Fire Emblem, like that whole fan base is so supportive of like everybody and every voice actor's performances, and it's it's really nice.
That is really cool. It's not often that you hear of a community being supportive, unfortunately. Yeah, like so many anime and video game communities are so toxic. Like the fans, like are just like, oh man, I hated that person's performance, or oh the art style, or blah, like so much negativity. So it's good to hear that with Fire Emblem, like there's not as much of that. There's more positivity, it sounds like.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you too. That you should look up your the like general fan consensus for Plumeria and for Allister for your performances. It's for like almost all the comments are all like completely supportive.
Aw. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good. I wanna like give back to the fan community. Like there's so many times where I'm like, I want to do this or that for people who are fans, but I feel like there aren't very many. So like all my other voice actor friends are like doing panels or I don't know, like online whatever autograph stuff, and I feel like if I were to do it, there'd be like 2 people who'd show up. But if I knew that there'd be more, I would definitely do it more often. Like a month or so ago, I was like, hey, what kind of skin would you like to see Plumeria with, or whatever? And someone was like, Easter Bunny. I'm like, okay, cool. And I tried doing it, and I spent a few hours on it, and it just was really bad. So I never finished it. And then I tried to like do an organic version of her, and it looks kind of cool, but then it also looks like it was done by a 3rd grader. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to like pass on that, unless people like it. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe I might send it to you and see what you think. Yeah.
Well, then I know that your career is still going, but my final question is always asking people, what do you want your legacy to be?
When I act, I don't act. And I want people to hear that. That makes sense. Like a lot of times I will hear someone like do like a phony angry or phony sad. And when I am angry or sad, or when my voice, you know, when I'm acting that out, it's 100% real. Like I am, like when I'm acting with emotion and stuff, I will give myself a headache. I'll give myself like whiplash because I get so into it. And I guess I want that to be a takeaway, that it's all real. Everything you hear is real. Yeah, I don't like to put anything on because it sounds bad, and I'm my worst critic, and I don't want to ever put anything out that I don't feel is less than perfect. I don't know, but sometimes though, although I'm not going to say though that everything out there that I've done is perfect, because a lot of times, honestly, if I'm recording something in the studio, I will do a line and I will think it's not great, and then the director's like, "Okay, great, move on." And I'm like, oh. So you don't always have the option. Mm-hmm. So, but for the most part, I try to keep it G. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know if that was like too generic. But yeah, I guess that's the main thing for now. Yeah. I can give my Twitter info. It's DuckDuckGose. I think there's an underscore in there though. It's terrible. DuckDuck_goes. Oh my god. Okay. Maybe you can just flash it on the screen. It's a play on words. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, and yeah, things of mine will come out later this year. November. Gosh, that's so far. That is so far. And there's like several big games. And I don't even know. Like for the most part, you never know when your stuff is going to come out. Mm-hmm. So whatever. It'll be cool though. I'm like really looking forward to this one particular character. Okay. Yeah, but who knows? Maybe it'll be next year. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Yeah, so that's about it. So thanks again for having me on this thing. On as part of your journey. And I hope that that you'll continue to build up a good strong following and all that stuff. And just yeah, again, I really admire your persistence. So that's yeah. So keep it up, and yeah.
Have a good night then.
Yeah, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.